What's up? Mic on? Mic on. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right. Share. Live stream to all my social medias. I don't know what the dog doing. All right. There's that. I'm live. Let me fix my mic. Live to the sky. All right, and then let me take my face down so I can go do something just real quick, and I'll be right back. He's back. He's back. Just the camera. You're wondering what's going on over here. If you're wondering what's going on over here, I am officially moved in. This was a box. These 3 hold Funko Pops and clothes. It's got clothes on the top. A little bit messy, but I have to work at 5, and it's Sunday live stream. Live stream every Sundays now. You know what we do. Sit down with live stream. Nice cold Celsius in our hands. Well, it was hard to open. This Sunday's live stream is, let me do that, and do that, and do that over there. All right. We're ranking the comic book movies of the 2020s in a tier list. There's like 40-something movies here. Not a whole lot, honestly. Now that I think about it, there's not a whole lot of comic book movies in the 2020s, just like 10 a year. Unlike horror movies, when I did that, there was like 70 different movies. So we're not going to be here that long, but I'm expecting to take a couple hours. 12:23 Central Time. I work at 5 p.m. Central Time. So we got to do this. Now, you might be wondering, Zach, Fantastic Four comes out next weekend. Why are you ranking them all right now? As Isabella comes say hi. Well, because next Sunday, I'm ranking the entire MCU after Fantastic Four. Every MCU project, and there's like 50 different projects. The dog, hold on one second. Sup, people? 2 viewers. Sorry about that. My grandma came by. So it's interesting. My mom and dad live in a house that's in the middle. My aunt bought this house, and I'm staying in this house. And then my grandma and grandpa live on the other house. So she just came by to say hi. We talked for a few minutes. So already 10 minutes in a live stream and haven't even got through the introduction. All right. So like I said, next weekend we are ranking the MCU. That should be a lot of fun. But today, we're ranking the comic book movies of the 2020s. We got all of these movies here. Should be a lot of fun. Jake Dollar said, where did he go? And maybe after 10 or 12 or so, I'll take some questions. So if you're in there, I'll remind you guys to ask some questions. Last Sunday's live stream was a lot of fun. And we're going to have a really fun one as well. So let's discuss what tiers we have. Super. Felt pretty natural to put super as the top tier. We got great, good, mid/bad. I couldn't find any fancy ways to say those. And then villain origin story. This is the bottom of the bottom. This is what makes me go on my villain origin story because the movie was so bad. All right. Let's start with the comic book movies of the 2020s tier list. And I put it in the description if you want to make your own tier list of all the movies I have here. These aren't all the movies. These are just all the movies I've seen. So if there's more movies, then you can feel free to add it all. I think I have it editable. All right. We get started with, is this part 1? Yes, Batman, The Long Halloween, part 1. We are including a couple of animated movies, the ones that I have seen. I shook the desk. Let me get all comfortable. All right. Here we go. Batman, The Long Halloween, part 1. Part 1 and part 2, pretty much the same for me. They're watchable. They're animated Batman adventures. Part 2 had more of the typical Batman. You know, you got the characters that are doing superhero things. You got the villains, all the Batman villains. Kind of like a typical one. I read the comic before I watched these 2 movies. I adored the comics. I thought that the Long Halloween comic was immaculate. But then the movies are just kind of like typical Batman movies with a little bit of mystery spin. I definitely enjoyed part 1 a little bit less than I enjoyed part 2. I think for both of these movies, I'll have to go ahead and put them in mid-bad. And because technically I talked about both of them, I'll go ahead and move part 2 in mid-bad as well. Just a little bit ahead of the Batman Long Halloween part 1. Just because I found that one to be even more watchable than the first one. It's like they're watchable. They're not bad movies, but they don't capture the magic that the comic book did. All right. Captain America Brave New World, the first comic book movie to release this year, is fine. It's good enough. It felt more like a Disney Plus movie. Probably would have worked better as a Disney Plus original series. It's about the same writers who did Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That show is awful after rewatch. And this one, it's much better than that. It's completely watchable, but it's also not all that great. It has its moments. I think the Red Hulk fight is awesome. The leader's cool to see. But, I mean, for a Sam Wilson Captain America movie, it definitely felt like they didn't have that much ideas on how to make a great one. So, again, a completely watchable movie. I didn't hate it, but it's one that's going to have to go in mid/bad above the 2 Batman Long Halloween movies. All right. The Crow. And this is the remake from last year. A lot of controversy because of, actually, let me do this real quick so I can have names so I don't disrespect what they are. Brandon Lee passed away while filming the original Crow. His main character's name was Eric Draven, and a lot of controversy because they named the main character in this movie Eric Draven, and a lot of people thought that it was disrespectful to Brandon Lee's memory. And, I didn't care about the controversy. I went in like, okay, it's my first Crow movie. Maybe it'll be okay. Maybe the action will be good. And I'll tell you what, the action was brutal. That's about what I can say. That's about all the positives. This movie is a villain origin story. It is absolutely an awful movie. I hated watching this. The story is all jumbled. The romance is literally the 2 characters just sitting there like, baby, I love you. I would jump off a cliff if you jumped off a cliff too, baby. I love you so much, baby. They both go into the mental asylum, and they escape the mental asylum by walking out a window and leaving with all these guards everywhere. Like nothing happened there. Like I said, there were some cool action fight sequences. I think the opera house scene is actually really good. The rest of the movie is not. And so, like, you can't have a good action movie without a good story. It is awful. It goes on the villain origin story tier. The complete opposite is Deadpool and Wolverine, which goes on the super tier. This is a movie I saw 3 times in the theater as the Movie Addict joins. Hey, Zach, finally able to make a live. Thanks for joining us, the Movie Addict. I really appreciate you joining this live stream. Anyways, ask some questions if you have them, and I'll answer questions after I talk about 10 movies. We've already talked about 5. All right. Deadpool and Wolverine. Saw this movie 3 times in the theater. Loved it every time. It's just so funny. Deadpool is awesome. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine can bring this authenticity to the film. And, shoot, I lost my train of thought. And the movie is respecting the Fox era of X-Men. You know, it's a dead universe. We see all these cameos, and they don't just feel like, oh, look, there's that guy. They actually serve a plot to the story. So, like, love watching this movie. I love seeing all these characters again, and it actually has a really good story with pretty good themes inside the Marvel Universe. And I forgot I've seen it a 4th time. I watched it on my birthday on the 4K copy I have. So it goes in super. This is a really amazing movie. All right, I talked about this one a couple times, a lot of times actually on the channel, and I've said that it is one of the. I even talked about it in the last live stream, not the last live stream, but the last tier list I did. So, Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. This is probably the biggest hot take. I love this movie. It goes on the great tier. I think this movie is just a great Doctor Strange movie. It's a Sam Raimi movie, so you feel the horror elements. And yeah, it did go through some studio hell, but still, I was compelled the entire time. I've watched this one numerous times. Again, Wanda's arc in this movie is great. I love seeing her as a villain. There's some brutal action sequences. America is a little bit annoying, but still, you got all this imagery, all this awesome action sequences with a Sam Raimi flair to it. So, Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness, it goes in the great tier for me. And then The Flash, a movie. This is actually the most recent comic book movie I watched. What are you doing, dogs? Come here, dogs. And I love The Flash. I think on this watch, I noticed a little bit more annoying elements. I feel like Ezra Miller, I still like his character, but definitely tries to copy the MCU humor, which I don't really mind. I still really love. But still kind of felt copying that. But I feel like this story is a great Flashpoint story. I love seeing all these characters, love seeing Zod, love seeing Supergirl in here. I still really like the 2 Flashes. Michael Keaton's Batman is awesome in here. So just a really cool story that also has some fantastic emotions, man. The part where Christopher Reeves, you see him being resurrected, is just takes me out of the movie like, that's awful. But in the very next scene is the Flash's emotional scene with his mother that never fails to make me cry. So just a movie that every time I watch it, I'm like, that is I don't get why people hate this movie. It's in great. I don't know if I like it better. This is 2 hot takes from me. I love both of these movies. I don't know. They both have issues, but they're both movies I really like. I think I'll keep it here. Maybe I'll put The Flash ahead of. I don't know. But they both go here. They're both really close for me. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special goes up in super. It's a 1-hour special, but it always gets me in the holiday spirit. I watch it a couple times every holiday season. It just has these emotions. It doesn't have big extravagant arcs, but you're with the Guardians, characters that you love, while they're doing things that are just funny, emotional, and always just makes me have a big smile on my face. So, I mean, for a 1-hour special on Disney Plus, it's immaculate. And I recently ranked the James Gunn's movies. We have 3 of them here. So go check out that ranking if you haven't already. That goes in super. And then we got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. How many have we talked about? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we'll talk about Kraven, and then I'll take questions. So for the 2 viewers watching, please send some questions if you want answered movie related. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a movie that I saw in the theater when it first released. I was not the biggest fan of the movie, but then I revisited the movie after Thunderbolts, and I fell in love with it. I didn't like it at first because it felt like there was no stakes, because it felt so much of the discussion was who's going to die, and then nobody died, and I felt like it kind of undermined it a little bit. But this rewatch completely hit all the emotions for me that didn't hit when I first watched it. At the very beginning, you get kind of just this weirder story inside the MCU. It's completely different than a lot of the other MCU projects. But at the same time, there's actual stakes. You're actually on the edge of your seat as you fear for Rocket's life. And then all of the flashbacks with Baby Rocket are just emotional. And then the action sequences are great. Pretty much the whole hour and a half left of this movie is a big action sequence, and it's great. The High Evolutionary is a fantastic villain, and the ending is perfect. And I teared up when I revisited the movie. So this was like a 3-star movie turned into a 4.5-star movie on rewatch. It goes in the great, and it is going to go above The Flash and Multiverse of Madness. And then Kraven the Hunter. This is a little bit unique one for me because I watched the movie in the theaters one time, and then I was like, yeah, that was actually really good. That's weird. I actually really enjoyed that. And then I rewatched the movie, and I enjoyed it slightly less, got a little bit more boring. So, like, I would have put it in the good category after watching it first. I think I'm going to put it at mid/bad, but it is going to be at the top of mid/bad. Shoot, what am I doing? Just because I think there is some really good action sequences in there with Kraven. Aaron Taylor Johnson's always fun to watch on screen. So I have to put it there, but the movie story is definitely boring. The Rhino is kind of useless, but it's okay. All right, we're going to take a break. We got 3 viewers, and send in some movie, TV show related questions, maybe even a sports related question if you got it. But yeah, let's take a break. Then we'll talk 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we'll end here. Like I said, this isn't going to be that long of a live stream today, but it'll be a couple hours maybe. We're shooting some questions. I'm going to go check on the dogs that I'm watching. Everest, Isabella. What are you doing? Trying to do something here? Yep. I'm back. Any questions? Any at all? Take a brief break. And again, in the description, I do have the link to the tier list. So if you want to check it out, let's go to YouTube. Am I logged in on an account on Chrome? Yes, I am. I don't know if you heard that or not. What's that? Hey, the Movie Addict is a top fan. So thanks. Appreciate that. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, the link is working. That is what I was checking. All right. I'm cleaning up my room a little bit. So, like, I have my movie shelf that's going to be over there that you guys might be able to see. I got my Funko Pop shelf there, and I got to clean it up. Probably after I get off live, I'm going to spend the rest of the day before work cleaning it up. Then I won't get off till about 1 in the morning. All right. Let's go ahead and still, if you guys have any movie-related questions, send them in the chat, and I will answer them. All right. Let's go back to the tier. We'll end at Spider-Man Lotus. The Marvels is a Marvel movie that's more forgettable, but I found it completely watchable. I like... Whoa, someone just flew above my head. I thought it was just a shadow. I like the cast. Always am going to love Iman Vellani. I feel like Captain Marvel herself is a little bit unlikable in this movie, but she's all right. The villain I like more than other people. I feel like her motive was pretty good, but she's kind of forgettable. I don't remember any of the action set pieces. I was a little bit confused on the mid-credit scene, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, and I don't like the way the movie ended, but it's completely watchable. Like, it's not an atrocious Marvel movie. It's just completely watchable. But it's one that is going to have to go in the mid/bad, but it is going to go above Kraven the Hunter. All right, Jacob asked a question. We'll talk after Spider-Man Lotus. The Eternals. Last train of thought, I was going to say something. Jake Dollar is my brother, so he knows The Dark Knight is my favorite movie of all time when we get to that question. The Eternals is a movie, again, a lot of people weren't the biggest fans of, but when people love this movie, they love this movie. I'm going to put it on great right behind Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I feel like this movie is more unique. It's by a director that actually has a vision. It's not just one of the Marvel directors that are held by Kevin Feige. The characters are interesting. The action sequences are interesting. It is one of the more distinct style. It's one of the more MCU movies that has a distinct style than a lot of the other MCU movies. So just a movie that is really cool to watch. It's really interesting. A lot of people don't love it, but when I love it, I love it. And it goes great right behind Guardians Volume 3. And then there's probably going to be, well, this is going to be the second bottom. We'll talk about the other bottom here in a minute. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania started my villain origin story. I left this theater and I thought, okay, yeah, that's a little bit of representation of just how fatigued I am by the MCU. You get interesting enough, when you're doing the Ant-Man heist stuff, he's on a heist for Kang. I was interested, but then that third act was just a big battle. The more I think about it, the more I get so unbelievably pissed off talking about this movie. So number one is the usage of MODOK in this movie, where he is MODOK. I am the great MODOK, but he's played more for laughs. And then, at the end of the movie, his big arc here, his big heroic arc is, I don't want to be a dick anymore. And Cassie Lang says, well, then don't be a dick. And he's like, okay, I'll do this for you, and I'll be a big hero and an Avenger. Yeah, that makes sense. And then the other thing that just gets under my skin and really just grabs my heart and rips it apart, man, it pisses me off so dang much, is that Kang, the Conqueror, the guy who's going to be the big villain for the Avengers, gets beaten by, just an ant chewing on his skin. A guy that could probably just punch the ant and kill the ant. One of the coolest comic book characters, played expertly by Jonathan Majors, gets defeated because of an ant. Probably a good thing they didn't continue with him after that, because that was just atrocious. So an atrocious third act ruins anything that could be slightly interesting about it. This is a movie that I will never revisit. Every time I think about it, I just get this big flame in my chest that just makes me want to, bam, punch the screen so hard. It's not good. And then we got Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. I've noticed we don't have any in good. We have a bunch in mid/bad, where these are all mid. I'd say I wouldn't say any of these are bad, but these are awful. But Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and we get another one that's going to be in mid/bad, but it's going to be above the Marvels. I actually enjoyed watching this one. I like the interactions between Arthur and Orm. Jason Momoa is always fun. Black Manta was a cool villain, but it's one of the DCEU movies that just, it's okay. It's a fine enough watch. It's entertaining enough, but it doesn't do anything to completely make me go, that was awesome. Wow, I love that. Makes me go, okay, that was watchable. My dad and mom were bored. I think my dad fell asleep in the theater watching this. But, me and my brother had a good enough time. But you have to admit that it is just a mid movie. Here we go again. Yet another movie. Now, I don't know where I'm going to put Madam Web. It's going to be in this tier, but I don't know where I'm going to rank it. Because on one hand, it's a purely awful movie. But on the other hand, I had a fun enough time watching it. I mean, when the first scene, when the spider people start crawling down from the sky, me and my brother were losing our crap, man. We were freaking out in that theater, dying laughing. And the movie just doesn't stop. But I feel when it is the murder mystery stuff, not murder mystery, but the mystery with the Spider-Man villain, I feel it's watchable enough. But it's still a bad movie, and the third act just completely loses any interest for me. So part of me wants to put it above the Batman The Long Halloween movies, but at the same time I could put it above or put it behind, because it's these movies are better, but I honestly think I had more fun watching Madam Web. I'm going to put it behind the Batman The Long Halloween movies just because it is a bad movie. It would go in the bad. But it is a dang fun bad movie. And then we got the movie that's going to be at the bottom of this whole tier list, Morbius. Because for some damn reason, I saw this movie 3 times. Don't ask me why I saw the movie 3 times, because I don't freaking know. I watched it on my phone on the way to church camp one year. And I was just like, I didn't know if it was fatigue. I was like, okay, that wasn't very good. But then I decided to watch it again on the way home, maybe thinking like, okay, yeah, maybe it was because I was tired. Maybe if I start off watching the movie when I'm not tired, maybe I'll enjoy it a little bit more. No. And then lo and behold, I get home, and what's the first movie my family wants to watch when I get home from church camp? Oh yeah, they want to watch Morbius. Why? Why did you do this to me, man? And it gets worse and worse every time, man. The story is boring. The acting is boring. The villain is boring. Hey, guess what? The movie is boring. Nothing eventful or interesting happens in this movie. So I leave it feeling bored every time. It's not like something that pisses me off like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but like a movie that had some interesting ideas is just so unwatchably boring. And that's why it has to go in the villain origin story tier. The New Mutants. Sorry, I'm reading this comment. All right. New Mutants. Again, I could put it in mid. I don't know, because like my view of good comic book movies and mid comic book movies are just so weird in my opinion, because like mid comic book movies are like watchable comic book movies, but they don't do anything. But like super comic book movies are fantastic movies. So I think I'm going to have to put this at the top of mid. So like because I wouldn't say it's necessarily a good movie, but it's one I enjoy. So it's a very difficult to rank these. The New Mutants, however, is a fun movie. You know, it's got some horror elements that I do think work, some edge of your seat thrills. I revisited it when I ranked X-Men on my old channel last year. But some cool thrills, some cool edge of your seat stuff, some cool X-Men characters. But I feel like that third act completely undermines everything about the movie that was just kind of like this small closeted thriller turns into like they're fighting a giant CGI bear, and like kind of loses my interest in the third act every time. But I mean, it's a movie that I enjoy, but it is coveted with problems, so it goes on the mid/bad category. All right, 3 more until I answer the 2 questions I have now. Shang-Chi, this is where we get into the good stuff. Shang-Chi is a good movie. It's not a great movie, but it's good. I revisited this actually a couple months ago, actually a month or 2 ago, and it has some great action sequences, like some awesome martial arts stuff. I like the characters. I like the world building they had. The stuff on the island is really cool with the dragon, which is really awesome to see. I feel like the villain and the Mandarin himself is really cool and has that emotional kick to it. And just a movie that every time I revisit it, I'm like, okay, yeah, that was actually some really cool stuff they did in this movie. I do feel like the humor in this one really shines out as the negative, though, where almost every emotional beat in the movie is just like has to be underplayed by a joke. And I know what you're going to say, like, oh, Zach, where are you going to put Superman on this tier? That movie has every emotional moment undermined with a joke. I completely disagree with that. This movie, like, literally, and the big problem is Awkwafina, you know, like, they'll be like, Dad, I have to kill my dad. And she'll be like, what's up? What do you got to do? And like, you just ruin that emotional moment. So a lot of amazing things in this movie, but a couple problems that held it back from being great. But hey, it's a good movie. This is like a huge recommendation from me, but it's not great. I had to take a drink of my tropical vibe Celsius. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. This goes on mid. It's going behind. I don't know where I'm going to place it. Let's. Do I want to place it behind the Long Halloween movies or in the middle? This is hard, man. This is very hard. I'll just go ahead and place it here. It's above Madam Web. Even though I honestly think I'd rather revisit Madam Web over Shazam Fury of the Gods any day. But just overall quality. I feel the first two acts of this movie are fun enough. You know, they got some fun jokes. I like the cast. There's some cool action sequences in here. But the third act really shines through on superhero fatigue, where they're fighting a giant dragon, and there's big CGI explosions and a big battle, and none of it's thrilling. And Shazam's gonna sacrifice himself, and then he doesn't sacrifice himself. I was 100% bored during the third act, but there is enough in the first two acts that it make me enjoy the movie, but this is one I'll probably put near the bad. Oh boy, and here is a really, really interesting one because there's a lot of drama. I don't really want to talk about the drama because I might be a little bit off. Like, I don't want to say something and then, like, it be wrong. But I'm pretty sure the director or an actor in the movie was texting a minor at some point. Maybe? Hold on. Let me look this up. I can't confirm that, but I think that's the case. Spider-Man Lotus controversy. Yet I still watched the movie. Oh, no, he wasn't texting a minor. He was just being really damn racist. Yeah, okay. Oh, shoot. I hit the wrong button. All right. Yeah, what's the controversy here? You guys can't see it, but I can. Spider-Man Lotus, blah, 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 not associated. Oh, yeah, Wonder Wayne, I think one of the filmmakers or one of the actors, was being really homophobic and really racist. Can't do that. It's not good. Can't be racist. Not a good thing to do. But, I watched the movie and I felt like it had some solid emotions in there. It's about Spider-Man dealing with grief after the loss of, was it Gwen, I think? But the movie, like, it is flurried with problems. It's an idea here to make an interesting Spider-Man movie, kind of like Amazing Spider-Man 3. But overall, the movie itself just didn't have the budget to pull off the action sequences. So a lot of it is just characters just walking around. Got to get this hair off my mic. Excuse me, walking around sulking, oh, my wife, or Gwen, she's dead. And like, okay, I get it. And then one time I clicked on to see how long the movie had left. I thought, oh, yeah, it's got 20 minutes left. No, it had an hour left. And, you know, nothing too interesting, but I think it was a neat idea. It's interesting where I'm going to put it, though, because, like, I didn't hate it. I didn't necessarily like it either. Honestly, probably be a bad movie. Like, it's definitely, honestly, like, it's crazy. A fan film is better made than Madam Web. Actually, I think I'm going to switch this around. I think I'm going to put Shazam Fury of the Gods behind Madam Web and Spider-Man Lotus ahead of Fury of the Gods. I don't know. It's very hard because Shazam Fury of the Gods is a movie that I just didn't like. I was kind of bored by it, especially after how fun the first one was. But same time, it's got more watchability aspects than Lotus did. It's hard. I'm going to put Lotus here for now. And if at the end of the video I decide to change it, then I will change it. All right, we're taking a break. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, shoot. So we only have 21 movies left. We're going through this. We're only 40 minutes in here, and we're going through this. But I do have a couple of questions. First up, Jake Dollar, my brother. What's the best DC movie besides Dark Knight? He does know Dark Knight is my favorite movie of all time. That's a very good question, actually. Let's look this up. I can't. It might be The Batman, but I'm going to shy away from that, and I'm going to pick a movie that's not a Batman movie. Because The Dark Knight is a Batman movie, and I want to make this interesting. Honestly, it probably would be The Batman or The Joker, but they're both technically Batman movies, so I can't include them. I love Batman, in case you can't tell. So The Joker and The Batman and The Dark Knight are my top 3 DC movies. and they're all in my top 100 of all time. Superman was really good, but I wouldn't consider it the best. The Flash is really good. Shoot. Hold on, let me screen share this real quick. Remove. Stop screen. Share screen. Movies. Share. Boom. Bing-a-bong, bing-bong, boom. All right. Animated adventure. All right. Here's all the movies. 134 movies. All right. Joker Folie à Deux sucked. Oh, shoot. I don't have Joker Folie à Deux in this tier list. I'm just now realizing that. I forgot Joker Folie à Deux. So we'll add that on at the end. That'll be the last movie you talk about. This is difficult to make a movie that's not. Oh, there it is. The Suicide Squad. But would I consider that a Batman movie because it's got Harley Quinn in it? Very hard. But I love the Suicide Squad too. So it could very well be the Suicide Squad. Just keep looking. Oh, shoot. My email just went off. Just in case there's one that is. I love Batman v Superman. But guess what? Batman movie. All right. I'll go ahead and just. Yeah. I don't think there's just like a single DC movie I adore that would I consider best without Batman characters in it. So The Dark Knight's number one. Probably would go Joker number two. I love that movie. I just love what they do in the third act. And then would go the Batman number three. And then probably shoot, I lost my the Suicide Squad number four. And then probably number five would probably be Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's my top 5 DC movies of all time. All right, the Movie Addict said, sorry, I don't have much to contribute. I haven't seen many superhero movies, but then he did say here that he did watch Shang-Chi and liked it. But if you ever rank Godzilla movies, I've seen quite a few. I will probably never rank the Godzilla movies because there's just so many, and a lot of them I've heard are just terrible. Have seen quite a few, though. Let's see the ones I've seen. All right. I'll go and tell you the ones I've seen. And then, all right. I've seen King of the Monsters. I really enjoy that movie because the movie's really good after the first 30 minutes, which are just awful. Godzilla vs. Kong, really stupid, but I did enjoy it. And yes, most of these are MonsterVerse movies. So, haven't really seen any like Japanese ones. But there's one I have seen. There it is. We'll talk about that in a second. Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla 2014 is a movie that actually makes Godzilla really, really scary. But at the same time, I'm just like, okay, yeah, but you don't see Godzilla that much. And there is a couple story issues. But I do love Gareth Edwards. Thought that movie was good. Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire is fun. And then Godzilla -1 probably would be number one for Godzilla movies for me. And it'll probably always be number one for Godzilla movies just because I just loved what they did, makes us care about the characters, and is also just genuinely horrifying. So, yeah, that's my favorite Godzilla movie. And then Grant Helm, he's in the chat. Sup? Hey, Grant. Got any questions? Shoot them in the chat. All right. So, yeah, guys, shoot questions in the chat. We're going to talk 10 more movies, and then I'll answer some more questions. For you people just joining us, this is what the tier looks like so far. We got 2 in Super. So far, Deadpool and Wolverine's number 1. We got some in Great. We got a Good. We got a bunch in Mid/Bad. I think Bad would start right here. And then this, I might switch these around at the end of the video. And then these are just the worst. The worst of the worst. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll end at Werewolf by Night, and then we'll take questions, and then we'll finish out the tier list. Spider-Man No Way Home. Take a drink. Great movie. There might be a few things that hold it back from Super, just like the story and the setup of it. But man, I love this movie. I cried when I first saw it. I get emotional at the ending every time. It's a great conclusion to the original trilogy of Spider-Man in the MCU. Because, in case you don't know, I'm a massive fan of that trilogy. It's my favorite trilogy in the MCU. And, like, it's just perfect. Like, the way that it concludes Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But then we also get to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. We get to see all these villains. There's a very emotional ending, which is great. We get Doctor Strange in here. The setup is a little bit messy, but I love this movie. I could put it at the top of great, but now talking about it makes me love it even more. It's going, should I put it I think I'll put it above the holiday special just because of how much lost my train of thought. I love that ending of the movie. All right, Superman. The reason I'm doing this tier list, because Superman's out. We got Superman. We got one of the best villains of all time, Lex Luthor. And then we got the Superman DC Multiverse action figure. I got paid. I'm thinking of going to buy Lex Luthor and Mr. Terrific and all that too. All right. Superman. Amazing movie. I mean, it's probably the most comic book movie of all time. The stuff with the Kents in the movie near the third act just made me cry in the theater. I loved what they did there. Great action sequences. Mr. Terrific's awesome. Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, great. Metamorpho's awesome. Lex Luthor, I already alluded to this. Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor, probably a top 5 DC villain in general of all time. Just such a hater. Made me hate him, and I love that. Not much in the movie that didn't work. Maybe got a little bit too cartoonish at times, but it's a great movie. I'm going to put it in great. I could possibly put it in super after another rewatch, but for now, it's going to go right here in great. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, going at the top of super. Most likely, this is going to be the best out of all of these, man. I loved that movie when I first saw it in the theater. After I got home from watching it, I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And then once the movie came out on 4K, I watched the movie again, loved it. And then I revisited it at the beginning of this year. And from the very first sequence, I just hit all this emotion. Wow, excuse me. So much emotion in the movie just from the very beginning, because you care about these characters, you care about this world, the score, the animation, all of that is perfectly done. And then you get into the middle of the film, and it's just kind of like, okay, yeah, there's not like this big grand story, but you're seeing the spider world. And then you get the emotions near the end where like, oh shoot, you got to save his dad. But then like it's so intense near that final 30, 45 minutes. And then the ending of the movie, the plot twist, man. When I saw that in the theater, I was shocked. I was thinking about it I really haven't stopped thinking about it since. So I need Beyond the Spider-Verse now. It's my most anticipated movie of all time. I loved Across Spider-Verse, and it's probably going to be number 1. All right, now we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. This is going in good, but it's going near the bottom of good. It's a movie that when I first left theater, I was like, yeah, that was good. And then I rewatched it, and I'm like, okay, it's still a really good movie. It's still got a lot of fun. I love that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are teenagers. Really relatable. Love the voice cast. Some cool action sequences in there. Great animation. But like, I feel like the dialogue and script is a little bit rough. Or quite literally, you got characters being like, when we were turtles, we were thrown into the sewer. Or Splinter's like, when you were little turtles, you got thrown into the sewer. And then I picked you up and I've raised you from the beginning and I taught you kung fu. And this is how you treat me. Some rough dialogue really took me out of the movie. But still, I think it's one of the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. And it goes in good right behind Shang-Chi. We got another animated Batman movie. Last animated movie on this list. Soul the Dragon. I don't remember much about it, but I do know that my grandparents, me and my brother went over there Actually, it might have just been me at this time. But when Family Video, which is Missouri's version of Blockbuster, I don't know if any other state has it, but I do know we did. Until they all shut down, unfortunately. We always went there and we got a couple movies. And I remember we got what's The Craft, the Craft remake that they put out there. And we watched Batman Soul of the Dragon. You know, I had a good enough time. And then we watched the Craft remake, and I was like 13 at the time. And the scene where she was in her bed, pleasuring herself, my grandma decided, yeah, we're not watching this movie anymore, and turned it off. And then we all went to bed. I had a good enough time with it, but I don't think I could put it in good just because I don't really remember much about it. Where am I going to put it here? I liked it better than these. I'm good with putting it here. Thor: Love and Thunder. And it's going in Villain Origin Story. It's crazy now that I got a battle for where I'm going to put it on Villain Origin Story, because we do have some pretty bad comic book movies come out as of recent. Where am I going to put it? Probably right here. It's just a bad movie. There's really nothing good about the movie, honestly. No good action sequences. Gore is just completely wasted. All the emotions are just like Thor all of a sudden just cracking a joke and kind of ruining it. They do have this whole subplot about Valkyrie being gay, which is just completely uninteresting. It's the classic notion of giving Taika Waititi too much power after how amazing Thor Ragnarok was, then gave him this movie, and he's like, yeah, let's do everything that's great about Thor Ragnarok, turn it up to 11, and it just doesn't work, because Thor Ragnarok had these emotions, had these stakes, and this movie just didn't have that. So I just didn't like it at all, and it's going here. It's just like, it doesn't piss me off like Quantumania or Morbius did, but it's just not a good movie at all. It doesn't even deserve to be in the mid-bad. It's awful. Celsius is done. I think I've drank a Celsius in every single live stream. All right. Thunderbolts. Movie that released wow. Movie that released this year. Favorite comic book movie of the year. It's better than Superman, I think. It's going in the super category. Do I like it better? I did like it better than Deadpool and Wolverine. It's going right here, man. It has, I've talked about this movie several times, so I'm not going to talk about it for too long here. But let's see how long I've been live, actually, real quick. I've been live for an hour. All right. Just want to see how long. Thunderbolts, it's a great movie. It's a movie about mental health inside the MCU. So, like, it feels like classic MCU from the very beginning of that MCU title card. Like, it just has so much style. That is so much style. It feels like a big world. It sets up things for the world. And at its core, it's a movie about mental health, which is just very great. It's very emotional. Makes me tear up. It definitely made me sob in that theater. Love these characters. I love seeing Yelena, Red Guardian, Bucky, Ghost, Taskmaster for a brief second, Bob and Sentry. Great addition to this movie. Just adored that character. So, I mean, Thunderbolts is just a big swing and is crushed 95 miles out of the park. It's awesome. I love this movie. So, I mean, it goes here and it's going to be up here. And I cannot wait for its 4K release so I can finally rewatch the movie, because I didn't get to go see it again in theaters. I loved this movie. And then we got the two Venom movies that released in the 2020s. Venom Let There Be Carnage, which is going to go in mid/bad, above Madam Web, above these two, above this too, but it's going to go here. It's watchable enough. I love Woody Harrelson as Carnage, but the movie itself is just, it's mid. It doesn't, the story is just all messy. It's fun, but it's completely messy and honestly, like, makes me feel exhausted. The first two Venom movies, every time I watch it, I feel exhausted, like I need a nap instantly after, because it just goes, and then never has time to slow down or take a breather. So it goes here. But I did like Let There Be Carnage. I think not Let There Be Carnage. The Last Dance. I think The Last Dance was the best out of all of them, and it's going to go right here and good, surprisingly. This is a movie that I feel like in the middle of the movie is just completely nonsensical craziness, but I had fun with it. I think this is the most I've laughed at a comic book movie since Deadpool and Wolverine, which is not a long time, but still, very funny stuff in here. Then the story doesn't make sense. It's all wonky, but still, I had a really good time with the movie. And then the third act goes full Venom stuff, full symbiote stuff. So just something I really had a great time with in this movie. So I left the theater like, you know what? I'm not the biggest fan of the Venom movies, but that one was really good. And it goes right here in the good category. I just accidentally unplugged my microphone and my camera. I have this little I'm not going to pull it up. I have this little Kensington thing to plug into my MacBook. So accidentally unplugged it from the computer. Sorry about that. All right, the final movie we're going to talk about before I answer all the comments that were sent in. Send any more questions if you have them. Werewolf by Night, which it was fine. I mean, I feel like it had more potential. I enjoyed watching it, but I left the movie or the special presentation just thinking, that was okay. That was fine. So it's going to go in mid/bad because it just felt like if it was a movie, it had potential, but I just left it like, okay, that was just okay. It's going to go right here. It's mid. Feel like it had potential. I haven't ever felt the need to revisit it as well. All right. Grant Helms sent a lot of comments, so let's read that. All right. The Movie Addict. I did see Batman Mask of the Phantasm in theaters when it came out and liked it. I haven't seen that movie. I've always been recommended that movie. I just haven't checked it out, so I need to check it out. Grant Helm, if that is amazing Spider-Man in mid-bad, we got to fight. It's not. Trust me, because there's no amazing Spider-Man movies that came out in the 2020s. It is Spider-Man Lotus, the fan film that was released on YouTube. But I'm going to throw this out here. Amazing Spider-Man 1 goes in mid/bad. Amazing Spider-Man 2, feel like it has great emotions, but also goes in mid/bad. So they would go in mid/bad for me. They're not all that good movies. Even though Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man. And Grant Helm with a crazy take. I hated the Green Lantern, but loved Mr. Terrific. Green Lantern was awesome. He was perfect. Just like the comics, man. Awesome. Hilarious. One of the best parts about the movie. And Mr. Terrific was great as well. If we're going to talk about best comic book movies of all time, I would say it's TMNT. Like, wow. I was not the biggest fan of that movie at all. Or like the animated TMNT movie. So, we're just going to throw that out there. I agree. Rest in peace, Family Video. It was the best. You need to make a new tier for Thor, Love and Thunder, name it worst of the worst. No, if I was going to do that, Morbius and Quantumania would go in there. But I don't like any of these movies. I hate all of those movies, in case you can't tell. Like, these four are just awful. And then you got Shazam, which is just okay. But leaning towards bad. Thunderbolt's better than Superman is a crazy take. I highly disagree. Thunderbolt, like, Superman is a fantastic movie. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to compare the two. Like, I was considering putting Superman above, but the emotions in Thunderbolts made me cry. And that's why I love it. We do want to see Thunderbolts. Do it. Do it. And do it now. It's an amazing movie. Love it. It's more than just a comic book movie. Personally, I loved Let There Be Carnage. The person that played Carnage, I thought, killed it. I agree. But I don't agree. I didn't love the movie, but I do agree Woody Harrelson killed it. And then he's talking about the whole TMNT franchise. Let's look at I think you left a comment on a live stream on my old channel. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Movies. Let's talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies real quick. Screen, share screen. We'll just go to the Wikipedia page because why not? All right, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is the original, which I really, really liked. The Secret of the Ooze, which I thought had a lot of issues, but watchable enough. Haven't seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. TMNT I thought was really good until like the last 45 minutes, which just completely lost my interest. What's this one? The two live action ones. I have, what's that? Oh, yeah. Okay. I have a lot of nostalgia for those because I remember we went to go. What am I doing? Because we went to go, my family went to go see this movie, and like I left the theater like that was actually really cool. And then Out of the Shadows is significantly worse, but I still really liked it. And then I already talked about Mutant Mayhem. So if I was to rank the ones I've seen, I've only actually haven't seen Teen Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. I'd probably go this one's I'd probably go this one's the best, and then this one's the second best, and then probably Out of the Shadows, and then Mutant Mayhem, and then Teen Mutant Turtles 2, and then TMNT. I know I said Mutant Mayhem is one of the best Ninja Turtles movies, but like the Ninja Turtles movies are really good. So if you admit it, they are pretty good. My brother himself says that one was good. Which one? Which one are you talking about, Jacob? All right. Any more questions for me before we dive into the final bit of this tier list? And then I'll take questions after the tier list as well. I hope you guys are having fun here. Remember, next weekend we are ranking the entire MCU after Fantastic Four, and it's gonna suck. Oh no. I almost exited out of the stream. That would have been bad. It's gonna suck, man, because normally I go see new movies on Thursday, but I got a new job and I work close like 5 to close. I'm off Tuesday. I work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and so I work 5 to close, which is like 5 to 1. And so, like, they're not showing Fantastic Four until like 2:30 and like a cinema 30 minutes away. So there's no way I could watch it on Thursday before work. So I have to wait until Friday at 10 a.m. to go see Fantastic Four. I agree. It is a major L, but I'm going to mute everything on Twitter. I cannot wait to see the movie. Super excited for Fantastic Four First Steps. But I got until Friday. So I got 5 days to check out Fantastic Four First Steps. Very excited. All right, let's dive back into the tier list. Wonder Woman 1984. It's not as bad in the villain origin story. I enjoyed watching it when I did check out the movie on HBO Max when it first released. But it's like, the more I think about it, the more it's just completely ridiculous. It goes in the bad. It's got just some crazy stuff happens, and none of it makes sense. If you really think about it, the way they bring back Steve Trevor is he's possessing another person's body. So, like, technically she's with this other guy, but she sees Steve Trevor's face. And so they do the deed, which is technically considered rape. Not G, I was going to say spell grape. And just leaves a sour taste in your mouth. And then the third act is more superhero stuff. So just a movie that is just so ridiculous. I enjoyed it while watching. But I mean, it's just not good. My brother, being the dick he is, I'm about to go on Thursday. Go ahead and do it, and you won't get to go see it with me on Friday. Huh? You want to go see it on Friday, boy? Then don't go on Thursday without me. Zack Snyder's Justice League. I said it's a top 5 DC movie. It's weird because I was so excited to check out the movie when it first came out, and then I did watch the movie. Or I watched bits and pieces of movies and I was like, okay, I'm not vibing with this whatsoever. Now, to be fair, I was like 14 when it came out. So like I watched it, was it last year or 2 years ago or something? I don't know. As a mini series, I didn't watch it all at once because it's 4 hours long, but I watched it kind of as a mini series and it was perfect. And I revisited Batman v Superman as well. And I love that movie. So, I mean, I love the Snyderverse. I really did. As much as I wasn't the biggest fan of Henry Cavill, the Snyderverse itself is something I loved. So, I mean, it's just so interesting. It's a unique version. Last hour is really interesting. I would love to see what Zack Snyder was going to do. And as much as I love Superman, as much as I love James Gunn, I can't wait to see what he does. Part of me still wishes we got to see what else happened in the Snyderverse. But I'm not a Snyder cultist because I actually have half a brain. Where am I going to put it? Probably behind Spider-Man. I think I'm going to put it here. So, like, my top 4 is all Marvel movies, but Justice League is going to go here. He's going on Thursday and Friday. Yeah, very funny. The Suicide Squad is another movie that is going to go here, and it's going to go above Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's actually going to go above that too. Maybe even above. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it here. Not there. I think it's going to be number 3 on here. Suicide Squad is awesome. It's James Gunn, so he knows how to create movies with characters that we love, and he knows how to make you care for these characters. He knows how to bring out emotions in you. You love the characters here. Bloodsport, Peacemaker, great dynamic throughout the entire movie. Awesome action sequences in here. It's bloody. They fight Starro in the end, which is just completely awesome. King Shark is a delight. So, I mean, Zack Snyder's Justice League, or not Zack Snyder's Justice League, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad brings everything he did so good in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and brings it to The Suicide Squad, and it's my favorite James Gunn movie. And it goes number 3. Then we got DC League of Super Pets. Goes on mid-bad. More watchable than that, but I think I'm going to put it here. It's just, like, I wouldn't consider it to be a bad movie. I just consider it to be a movie that's not for me. You know, like, it's a movie that is 110% for the kids. But when I watched it, I was like, okay, that's fine. But the more the movie went on, the more tired I got. And then eventually I fell asleep in the middle of the movie. And then, like, I woke up and it was near the ending. So, like, I never fully saw the movie. But, like, just because it's definitely a movie that plays for kids. Not really for me. But, I mean, if you want to have your kids sit down and watch a movie, I wouldn't say it's a bad one. But I would say it's one that I would much rather watch any of these other movies. And Birds of Prey is a good movie. Actually probably going to go right here with it. I think I'm going to put Birds of Prey right here. It does go a little bit too much girl power, like, oh, we're women, we can do this. Like, third act is quite literally them sitting around like, we're women, let's go beat the crap out of these guys. But I still have a fun time with it. Obviously, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is insane and is awesome. There's some really good action sequences in here. There's so much visual style. I love the villain in this movie. So as it goes too much girl power, it's just one of those DCEU movies that is just, again, fun. The DCEU as a universe sucked, but I do individually enjoy most of the movies in the franchise. So I really did enjoy Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous blah, 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 blah. Whatever that movie is called, but I do enjoy it. Movie Addict says, well, I have Sunday family dinner to go to. See you later and keep up the great work, sir. Thank you so much for joining us, the Movie Addict. I really appreciate you. And enjoy your Sunday family dinner. We got a couple more to talk about here. Black Adam, mid/bad. I think I'll put it here. It's mid. I think the first 2 acts are really cool. Again, you get Dr. Fate, the Atom Smasher, which is really cool. I actually have the Atom Smasher Legend toy down there, the big one. So really cool stuff in the first 2 acts. But in the third act, like, you got like the predictable demon guy, which how many DCEU movies are going to have demons as the bad guys? Very boring. And he's raising up his demon spawn from the ground. And they're rising up from the ground, and Black Adam has to stop them. And it loses every momentum that it had in the first 2 acts of the movie. So third act completely falls apart for me, but I did still enjoy watching that first 2 acts. I got to get that out of there. So it goes there. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Very frustrating one. I love so much they do. I think with the cards they're given, they do a very respectable and emotional send-off to Chadwick Boseman. The movie has probably the biggest emotions inside the MCU. Ironheart is great. As much as I hated her show, she is a great character, and I really hope we get to see her in a better light again. But, actually, really weird thing real quick. I had a dream about Ironheart last night, and it's one of those stupid dreams, but I had a dream about it, you know, like where I was in an Ironheart suit, my brother was in another Ironheart suit, and we were fighting the Ironmonger. Really weird dream, but kind of cool, you know. I was flying in the Ironheart suit, doing my little blasters, pew, 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 pew. Really fun stuff. So, stupid dream. Better than the Ironheart show. But anyways, Wakanda Forever, I find, like, after the whole emotional stuff, the story is just kind of uninteresting. It's just, like, yeah, you get all the emotions, you get the Namor stuff, you get who's going to be the next Black Panther, but it's done in such a way where it's just not entertaining at all. But I don't want to put it in mid/bad. I think I'm going to put it here because of the respectable send-off to Chadwick Boseman. Black Widow. This is a... Wow. Bro, what? Oh, you're talking about my dream? Yeah, really weird dream. Black Widow, a movie that I feel like every time I watch it that it should be a better movie, but it just never hits that awesomeness that I wanted from the movie. It's fine. It's very much more distinctly interesting than the rest of the MCU. Has some really cool action sequences in this movie. Taskmaster actually, despite her twist, actually has some really cool action sequences. Love the cast that we get here. I mean, Yelena is great being introduced here. Red Guardian is a really cool introduction here. And just some great action sequences. I know I've said that several times, but I feel like the story always lets me down a little bit. The script always lets me down a little bit and thinks that, yeah, a movie that could have been in the super tier ends up just being in the good. I think I'll put it right here. Maybe even better. Yeah, I think it's better than Birds of Prey. I think I'll put it right here. Bloodsport. What is it? Bloodsport? Bloodshot? I don't know. It's a movie that when it first came out, I watched after renting it from Family Video. Rest in peace. But I enjoyed it enough. But it's never one that I wanted to rewatch. I just feel like it's a typical movie, and it is the definition of mid. So probably it's below that. Yeah. Where am I going to put it? Probably right there, honestly. Right above Werewolf by Night. I think I'm good right here. It is a completely mid movie. All right, 2 more movies left on the tier list of the 2020 comic book movies. Blue Beetle, and they're both great. Blue Beetle going on the great. It's weird. Where do I want to put this? It's weird. Very difficult. Where do I want to put Blue Beetle on this tier? It's going to be near the top. Do I want it above or behind Superman? I think I'm going to put it behind Superman. I feel the first 2 acts could have been a little bit better, but when you enter that 3rd act, you get the big emotions with the family, and then you get the Blue Beetle stuff where he finally gets a Blue Beetle suit. It's very shy on the Blue Beetle suit in the first 2 acts, but then the final 45 minutes is just him going through this place, fighting the villains, knocking them out, doing his cool stuff, and then even stuff with what should have been a throwaway villain has the emotions, has some big emotions that come out of me, and just some the emotional stuff. The action sequences are awesome. And me and my brother both left this movie out of the theater saying, that was awesome. I love that. But first 2 acts could have been slightly better, which is the only reason it's not higher. But it is right here. And then the final movie on our 2020's comic book movie tier list is The Batman. Now, when I left the theater, I left it a little bit disappointed. I was like, okay, could have been better. But no, I revisited it a couple times. It'll go right here. It's number 3 on here. It is a detective movie inside the DC universe where you follow Batman being the detective. And as he's not a great Bruce Wayne, he is a great Batman. It's intense. It's got some honestly creepy scenes. Paul Dano's Riddler is awesome. It has some great action set pieces. Colin Farrell's Penguin's great. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman is awesome. And so it's just a great, great DC movie. Jake, thanks. I still got to do the second Joker. I still adore The Batman. And I watched it a couple times, and it is just a purely perfect comic book movie. So if Superman and Batman were in the same universe, I would love that. Robert Pattinson's Batman and David Cornsweet's Superman, I would love to see. But that's number 3. All right, we got one more movie to do. Joker 2. Thanks for reminding me about that, Jacob. Completely forgot about it. All right, save. Shoot. Save. Okay. Okay, hold on. What are you doing? How do I do this? Okay, there we go. Can you guys see this? I think you can, maybe. You might be wondering why I have all these images to my computer. But I'm also a school guy. I go to school and stuff, so. Shoot, where? South by Southwest. Wait, no, it's download one. That's what it's called. Yes, there we go. There we are. Added Joker Filet-O-Doo. As I like to call it, Joker Filet-O-Doo. I'm going to put it above The Crow and Villain Origin Story. It's not a good movie. Like I said, I love that first Joker movie. I was in this movie and watching it, I was like, okay, yeah, this is interesting. I'm interesting. I was never uninvested from the movie. But then we get to the third act, and I'm like, okay, when's the story going to kick in? What's the point of this movie? We got to get a story here. I fully had belief until the movie ended that we were going to get a story. And then, like, people were saying, oh, that ending is just so crazy and unbelievable. Yeah, it was. Because the way the movie ended was Joker getting stabbed. And he's dead. They killed Joker in Joker 2. And it didn't have a story. There was no story. There was no point in watching this movie, man. Like, it was pathetic. I left the theater like, what the hell did I just watch? And I was trying to think, like, I tried to keep saying, like, that was good. You know, I enjoyed a lot of things. The more I think about it, I was like, what's the point of the movie? There's no point of this movie. So it goes in Villain Origin Story. All right, here is our official tier list in the 2020s. Why does this look so different? I don't know. It looks like it just got bigger. Oh, well. Of the 2020s, let's talk briefly about these. Morbius, boring. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, pisses me off. Thor: Love and Thunder, plain bad. The Crow, awful script. Joker Filet-O-Doo, pointless. Wonder Woman 1984, awful script. Boring is DC League of Super Pets. Shazam: Fear of the Gods, typical superhero movie. Spider-Man: Lotus, could have been great. Madam Web, it's okay. I have enough fun with it, but it's not good. Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1, it's at mid. Batman: The Long Halloween Part 2, it's better than Part 1, but it's still mid. Batman: Soul of the Dragon, it's mid. Werewolf by Night, could have been better. Bloodshot, it's a mid but watchable superhero movie. Venom: Let There Be Carnage, could have been great, but left me exhausted. Captain America: Brave New World is just okay. Could have been better. Kraven the Hunter, I like the action sequences, but the story sucks. The Marvels, it's a fine but forgettable MCU movie. Black Adam, really cool until the ending. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, could have been great, but it was just fine. The New Mutants had a lot of great stuff, but that kind of didn't work for me. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, not a great story, but respectable to Chadwick Boseman. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, could have been great, but the dialogue was a little bit rough. Venom: The Last Dance, really entertaining. Birds of Prey, a really fun DCEU movie. Black Widow, could have been great, just good. Same thing with Shang-Chi, could have been great, but just good. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is awesome. The Flash, great Flashpoint story. The Eternals, different but great. Blue Beetle, really good movie. Third act is awesome. Superman, most comic book movie of all time. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3, great emotional conclusion by James Gunn. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, a great holiday special. Actually, let's just be clear, I'm only putting this in super because, like, it's a short and it works for that. Zack Snyder's Justice League, wish we got the rest of the Snyder universe. Spider-Man: No Way Home, emotional ending to Tom Holland. Spider-Man. Deadpool and Wolverine, great movie. Suicide Squad, James Gunn does his best. The Batman, Sean Chandler said this was Superhero 7. I could not agree more. Thunderbolts, emotional comic book movie, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is the best. That is my official tier list. 42 movies in this tier list. Let's download this so I can post this on Twitter. All right, that's downloaded. Put that on there. And there we go. And this Sunday's live stream is complete. All right, next Sunday, we're ranking the entire MCU. This week, we got Fantastic Four coverage. I'm seeing I Know What You Did Last Summer on Tuesday. And then we got the Ari Aster ranking as well. But this is going to be a fun week. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this live stream. Everybody who watched, Grant Helm, Jake Dollar, The Movie Addict, thanks for commenting and everything. And with that said, we'll see you next live stream and next video.